We are Tottenham TV, back here to react to more of your comments. So let's get straight into it.
There's been a lot to talk about over the last 24 hours. Let's see what Jason JM says. He says, did we somehow piss off the universe? The script, Arsenal winning the league, Adolf going to relegate us at Stamford Bridge. The whole situation is actually unbelievable. If that is to be the case, I mean, couldn't write that, could you?
But it's not just that. It's also West Ham going to stay up ahead of us.
Yeah, and West Ham staying up in our expense.
Like literally,
you couldn't write like a more...
Yeah, like literally the worst possible scenario. Like if you imagined at the start of the season the most nightmare scenario, this would be it.
If I told you this is how it's going to end up, you'd be like, it's too ridiculous. You wouldn't believe me.
Yeah,
like,
and it could get even worse. Arsenal can win the bloody Champions League as well.
Oh, man. What have we done to deserve this? What have we done as Spurs fans to deserve this?
I don't know what we've done, but it's just like the universe just keeps shitting in our faces. That's what keeps happening. Like, ever since we've become Spurs fans as well, it's just like the scenarios that Spurs find themselves in is just ridiculous. Like even that time when we finished 4th and we didn't get Champions League because Chelsea won the Champions League. It's just like all these different things is just like, why us every time? Why?
Every time we're just somehow the butt of the joke in the most ridiculous circumstances. Bloody food poisoning before a game, we're in must-win game. All these scenarios only happen to Tottenham.
It all started off many years ago when we got relegated at the expense of Arsenal and they got voted into the league and we got relegated when we shouldn't have. And ever since then, there's just been countless amount of times where the universe has just absolutely shat on us.
Jay Freeman says, give AI a game.
I wouldn't be against it, you know.
There was a story, a few months ago of in the women's game, there was a manager who said she was struggling with tactics, and she just asked AI, what formation should I play? And she followed it, and they won.
Shall we ask AI?
Give ChatGPT
if
the keys.
Spurs manager, what formation and lineup
and tactics
would you play? What formation and lineup would you play? Let's see what it says. If I were managing Tottenham Hotspur right now, I'd build a team around what squad is actually best at: pace, attacking fullbacks and technical midfielders, while fixing their biggest issue, defensive stability.
They've already said technical midfielders, they don't have any.
My system would be 4-3-3, flexible 2-3-5 in attack.
It's giving hybrids.
Yeah. Why this works: Spurs have attacking fullbacks in Porro and Udogie type profiles, creative midfielders, Maddison type player. Well, he's injured. Fast wide forwards, Son, Johnson and Kulusevski. Well, that's wrong.
All three of them we can't play.
A mobile striker. Starting 11, they'd put Vicario in goal. Porro inverts into midfield. Romero, aggressive stopper. Van de Ven, recovery pace. Udogie inverts, overlaps depending on phase.
You're saying double inverted fullbacks, you're telling me?
This is basically Ange.
Come on.
Midfielder, defensive midfielder Bissouma, hold and progression. Central midfielder Sarr, box to box energy. Attacking midfielder Maddison, free creator. Attack right wing Kulusevski, cuts inside playmaker. Striker Richarlison, pressing and physicality. Left wing Son, inside forward and main goal threat. This is proper outdated.
What's going on here? I thought it was up to date nowadays, ChatGPT.
You're not up to date
with the current squad and injuries.
All right, I've told it to adjust accordingly. It's now searching the web.
You're right, he says.
You're 100% right. So, all right, fine. It's given us the updated injuries now. It says Romero suspension doubts. Anyway, my updated system would be 3-4-2-1.
Oh.
Not Ange Ball, it says.
Not Ange Ball.
It says my updated system is 3-4-2-1 and in brackets not Ange Ball. Realistic 11. Vicario or Kinski if needed. Back three of Danso, Dragoshin and Gray.
Gray left centre back. Gray.
Wing backs Porro and Spence if the doggy's not fit. Sarr and Bissouma or Paulinho if fit. Javi and Son, well, still putting Son in there.
Son.
And Solanke or Kolo Muani. How are they putting Kolo Muani and Son in the same lineup? So basically what this tells us is that, no, we should not be going for AI.
We should not be. Okay, AI can't manage Tottenham. All right, let's put that one to bed, I think. China Spurs says, I would keep Tudor. I really can't see anyone making an ounce of difference. And all you've said is we saw a change in the last two games and we were bouncing in your baby bouncers. Until half-time, it was going okay. No manager in the world could have lifted their heads after that first goal. They thought they were going in unlucky not to be ahead, but cocked it up. That was the end of us. Someone mentioned Poch would come in the summer, even if we went down. Did he really say that? If that's true, and the board do not offer him it now, then my lifelong support will be truly tested. But he says he would keep Tudor. Keep Tudor because no change will make an ounce of difference, and there was a little bit of a bounce before the Forest game, and no manager in the world could have lifted us after that first goal.
Well, I think to say that no manager would make a difference, I mean, there's a case for it. There's for sure a case for it when you're looking at the managers that were available. But the way I look at it is that he's come in, he's lost two pivotal games and both of them quite comprehensively at home to Crystal Palace and at home to Nottingham Forest. Both teams couldn't buy a win at the moment in time they played us. And I just feel keeping Tudor is basically resigning us to the fact of relegation and bringing in another manager. We just don't know how that will pan out. So maybe it will change, maybe it won't. But I think if we keep with Tudor, it won't change.
I wonder if it's ever worked, changing a manager at this late stage. Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head, is it ever working, really? In terms of a team being in this perilous position, into the threat of relegation, changing it. In my head, I can remember a few instances where they've changed it, but it hasn't worked. I remember Sam Allardyce came in for 5 games when Leeds were battling relegation and it didn't work. I remember Alan Shearer came in at a similar stage for Newcastle and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Obviously, changes have been made to managers in teams in relegation struggles and they've turned it around. But I don't think at this late stage, I can't off the top of my head remember any manager coming in with less than 10 games to go and being able to get something out of this team, their team. So I don't know. I kind of see the logic to keeping Tudor. He knows the team. He's had a few games to work it out. There was a little bit of an improvement, albeit last game ended up being a disaster. But maybe he could get something out of this team. I don't know. But even if you want to keep Tudor, like, it might be taken out of our hands. Obviously, he's going through mad personal issues right now. So is his head going to be 100% in it? Well, it's 3 weeks' time till the next game. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's difficult to say. I wouldn't want to speculate on that. But look, if there's a mutual agreement to part ways, then that's fine. Also, look, if we sack him, I'm also okay with that as well, because it's not like I'm desperate to keep him. But I also do see the logic in he's been here for a few games. Give him he's had a bit of time to work things out. Maybe he could get something out of these players, but it's hard to argue that as well, given the results.
I think the problem is just like nobody knows anything and nobody can give like a valid reason why we should do this, why we should do that. We're just in a crazily shit situation, whether we keep him, whether we sack him. There's massive cons to everything. There's not many pros to anything.
True. Steve Turner says Deitch in with Klinsmann as his assistant. Deitch can sort the defensive side. Klinsmann sorts out the attacking side.
Well, Klinsmann's pretty much a defensive manager, though, as much as he was an attacker. Look, Klinsmann's come in before as a player and saved us. Can he do it again and get us those wins that we need?
Deitch and Jurgen, double team?
I'll take it right now.
Yeah?
I actually would. I would.
Maybe they can get something out of this. Maybe get Klinsmann in the backroom staff, motivate these strikers.
There's not much I wouldn't take right now. That's the situation we're in. Like, I'm open to all options right now.
Nothing is off the table.
Yeah.
Matthew Nicholas says, why do we keep saying we're sleepwalking towards relegation? We've literally jumped off a cliff without a parachute, the bungee cord or some water to hit. We're done.
We're not done because we're not in the relegation zone yet. So we can't be done until we're actually done. You know? You're not relegated until you got that R next to your name on the table.
Well, if the season ended now, we'd stay up, wouldn't we?
Exactly. So we're not done. We are sleepwalking towards relegation because every single game we get closer and closer to the relegation zone. But we're not there yet.
We're not sleepwalking. We've literally jumped off a cliff without a parachute. That's more apt.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we've jumped off a cliff while sleeping.
Whilst we walked off a cliff.
Yeah.
Sanjay says, you guys are panicking way too much. Just win versus Wolves and Leeds and draw the games you're supposed to. Even if you lose to the top 6 teams, you guys should easily get 40 points. Spurs will never get relegated. We're panicking. We're just panicking too much. It's not too bad.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, don't worry. You'll win against Wolves. You'll win against Leeds.
It's fine.
Draw against the team you're meant to be, and that'll be that. Yeah, no problem. No problems whatsoever.
Doesn't matter we haven't won this year. Just win. Just win a couple of games. How hard is it?
I bet you he was saying, yeah, no worries. Just beat Palace and beat Nottingham Forest, and we'll be there.
Yeah, you're fine. We didn't meet Wolves early in the season, so why suggest we're definitely going to beat them this time? It's fanciful.
When they're in much better form.
Leeds aren't losing that many games. They're getting a lot of draws and stuff, so no guarantee we win that. And we haven't won a game in 13. We've won 2 in 22 now. So what's there to suggest we're just going to win a couple games?
We are literally in the worst form of our entire history as a football club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can anyone be confident of beating anyone right now? It's madness to say that. I think it's absolutely madness to sit and say, yeah, don't worry, beat this guy, and we'll be safe. It's just not.
There's no guarantee about winning any game right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. So
it's hard to envisage any win from now to the end of the season. It really is.
Honestly, we could easily go the rest of the season out winning. So to suggest we're not in big trouble and there's no reason to panic, I think you haven't been watching the games. That's the only reason you would say that.
If we go the rest of the season without winning, that means we're going to go 8 months without a win because the season don't start till August. And if we don't win in August, can you imagine?
God,
how mad is that?
That'd be mental. Yeah, you mean we're already 3 months?
Yeah,
it's nuts. Coming up on 4 months. By the time we play, we would be in 4 months.
4 months.
Oh my God.
Well, we'll be in the 4th month.
David Tucker says, "Don't want De Zerbi. It's just more chaos again. Our best option, and not necessarily ideal, is Mason. Worked with all the players, young and old. He's a current coach and would be a very easy transition to Poch. Anything else doesn't make sense. Surely not going for an Adolf, Redknapp, Sherwood, Poyet, Hodderwall, all ex-managers, not current. So none of them are better options. Who else is there to do? Who else is there do you trust within the club? With this club, I'd rather have someone who cares about the club. I'd take Mason, Vertonghen, and Defoe as a group, but we've left everything too late to be picky. Get Mason in and just like it or lump the situation we're in. Unless you're bringing in a world-class manager who won't take this job at this situation, we aren't staying up anyway. 0 wins in 2026 with a proven Prem manager and then a firefighter who's managed Juve. Tells you that. The skirting around Mason astounds me. He said the only logical choice is Mason.
I would take Mason. I really would. I think that, look, he obviously knows the club very well. He's worked with all the players pretty well, most of the players before, like he mentions. I don't think I can sit here and say Mason coming in is going to definitely save us from relegation, but I would take it right now. I really would. He's had a couple of Prem wins, hasn't he, Ryan Mason?
More. He's had a few.
More than Tudor.
Yeah, Tudor hasn't had any. So I think in both his spells he won. I think the second spell wasn't as good. I think he won 1 game maybe, or 2. Was it 2? I think just 1. Maybe was it the last game? And then his first spell wasn't terrible.
We won the first game. Was it against Southampton?
Yeah, I think he managed 6 games, and I think he won 3 of them, I think. I think won 3 and then drew 1, lost 2, something like that. So it wasn't horrific. But obviously, it was a different scenario. There wasn't as much pressure. You know, we were basically gone in the league anyway, but we're never going down or anything. We ended up finishing, I think, 7th. The second time we ended up finishing 8th. It was like coming in a relegation battle where you need that know-how, you need that experience, you need to know how to get out of the situation. I don't know. Does he have the minerals? That's the question.
Look, I'll be open to it. I think he's been touted as, you know, a good coach in the future. He's gone to West Brom, hasn't done too great. However, West Brom in a very bad way as a club right now. I remember a couple of months ago bumping into Jake Livermore, and he was telling me how bad the situation is at West Brom with the current owners and the money available and everything like that. And he ultimately got sacked there. And I think the next manager has got sacked, or is on the brink of getting sacked. I don't know what's going on at West Brom.
Did Harry Redknapp have Mason as a player?
Did Harry Redknapp have Mason as a player? Maybe as a very, very young
youth.
one.
I think he might have played under him.
Did he?
Like in a Europa League game.
Maybe. You might be right there. You might.
So what about Harry as Mason as assistant?
I don't know if he ever played under Redknapp, but he was probably at the club.
I think he did, because I remember like in 2008 or something, he played a game in the Europa League against like Den Haag or something. I'm pretty sure that was Mason. 08, 09. Yeah, one European appearance.
Okay.
And that was when Redknapp was in charge. So he did play under. He played a game under him.
I say get Mason in charge.
So they know each other.
But get Pochettino managing through Mason.
Pochettino managing through Mason.
Yeah.
What about Harry as Mason with Mason?
Yeah,
assistant?
bring them all in, mate. Just bring them all in.
Mason and Defoe.
You know, Michael Carrick earlier this season got sacked by Middlesbrough, and he's doing a fairly good job at Manchester United.
True.
So just because you got sacked from a championship club doesn't mean you're a bad manager.
Yeah, but I think Borough were in a different situation.
Yeah,
and
for
also
sure.
he'd been there a bit longer, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't be against. Like I said, I'm not against anything right now.
Kevin Robertson says Robbie Keane, 3-year deal. Don't want a Tim Sherwood. Don't want Harry. We need a guy who has links to Tottenham if we went down. Robbie could get us back up, and if he keeps us up, he deserves a 3-year deal. Plays good football. Proved himself with other clubs. Go get him.
Yeah.
Robbie Keane on a 3-year deal.
Do 2-year deal. 18 months. I like Robbie Keane as a manager. I think he's done good jobs in his last in his current role and in his role before. Yeah, look, it's a risk, isn't it? Because he's never managed at a level as high as the Premier League. But I think he's proving his minerals as a manager in the two jobs that he's been in. And I think, like, you always thought when watching Robbie Keane play, when you're looking at his leadership ability, when you're looking at how clever he was as a player, you always thought that he'd be good as a coach or a manager, didn't you?
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if he's destined to be Ireland manager at some point, for sure. I'm guessing that. But I would be in favour of it. I think I've been very impressed with this Ferencváros team and how they've been in the Europa League. I know when they came up against like Premier League opposition, it was a struggle, but they played some really good football. Yeah, I watched some of their game against Forest, and they were not bad. Like, you could see it was just like the lack of quality that was holding them back, but the way they were cutting through Forest at points was really impressive.
Sets teams up well, doesn't it?
Yeah, sets teams up really well. So, Robbie Keane and Mason as assistant? Come on.
Can Keane and Defoe manage together?
Oh, they can play together. How do they manage together? Devil's Dandruff says, we have sacked more managers this year than we have won games.
That is mad. Well, we've sacked one manager.
We've sacked one manager, but it's going to be 2 soon.
Yeah.
Which means...
Well, to be fair, sacking one manager is more than we've won in 2026.
Once we sack Tudor, that means we're going to have sacked as many managers as we've won home games this season.
Oh, that is just embarrassing. That is so embarrassing, man.
Incredible.
How is that even a stat?
Devil's Dandruff. Fway6026 says, can you imagine the speech Ange would give the group if he came back? It would be epic.
It would be a great speech.
It would be.
It would be a great speech. I do think, like I mentioned yesterday, he probably is the best candidate to get us out of this just because of how well he knows each and every one of these players.
I can imagine if they record that speech and after we stay up, they release the footage like Bill Bilbao, the inspirational stuff.
Yeah,
I think he would get those players running through brick walls in that first game.
Knowing this social media team and the way this club act, they're probably going to release it straight after the game if we win.
They'll release it at half time.
Yeah, at half time.
June by 2716 says, look, every single thing that Ben has said is leading to bringing back Ange. Instill some confidence in the group. The one who has the balls to take the challenge. Players actually love him and will listen to him. Maybe only half of the fans will support the decision, but it's better than none. He's got the experience in the Prem. What candidate who checks the boxes more than Ange right now? People just need to swallow their pride a little bit. If they can push something impossible like bringing De Zerbi, why can't they do that to push Ange? People who say about Ange 22 losses, do you think any other manager with the squad can do better? Well, Frank the genius can't do that.
I mean, I said it yesterday. I said it just now. I think probably Ange is probably the best manager available that can get these players on side very quickly and win us a couple of games in the short term. But there's no point talking about it because he's not coming back, and that's that.
Never.
Nah, he's not going to come back.
In football, you should always learn the lesson. Never say never.
Never say never. Yeah, well.
Never say never. You never know what's around the corner. Make the call. Get on the phone. Bring Ange back. I'm starting a movement. Bring Ange home. And survival.
Oh, only now you're starting it. Only now.
I need to counteract delegation. We need a nice catchy name.
I think if Ange was to come back, delegation would be dead because he'd be bang on that.
True. If you can people in the comments, come up with a nice catchy name for Ange's return. I can't think off the top of my head. We need to just counteract delegation and get Ange's return back in. Pirate Jack says, I really don't agree with this one-eyed approach of we must get behind the team. Why? The team are an utter disgrace, Gray not included. They have shown themselves to be utterly devoid of commitment to the club or the fans and have let the skill set, however limited that might be, drop to unacceptable levels, clearly not working on them in training or in their own time. Why should anyone want to get behind that bunch of nobody mercenaries except utter fools? As for ENIC and any collusion with them, no matter how small, is basically being a traitor to the cause of getting them out, which should be the only concern for all fans right now. The name, the badge, the fans, the name has become a laughing stock. The badge has been besmirched and replaced by ENIC Hotspur and the fans. Unfortunately, a lot of them like lemmings racing to the cliff edge. So I don't have any attachment to these poser players and actively despise ENIC and the board. I won't support or even tolerate them until they are gone. Keep it as toxic as you can until we get real change.
Look.
Sounds like a delegation night.
Yeah. If you want relegation, then that is the way that you should go about it. I think in terms of not backing these, look, you can think what you want about these players, but if you want to stay up, we need them. We need them to pull their fingers out, and we need them to get results from now until the end of the season. In terms of the collusion with ENIC, backing the team, backing the badge has got nothing to do with the thoughts on ENIC, in my opinion. It should always be a case of back the team and not the regime, and I think that's what Spurs fans are trying to do right now. Whether you want these players sold, whether you think they're good enough, whether you think they lack commitment or whatever, we all need to put all of that to one side for these next 7 games, and then we can pick up the pieces at the end of the season, beginning of next season, throughout the summer, whatever. But right now, everyone just needs to try and come together as much as possible and try and beat this thing. We need to stay up, and then these conversations can be picked up after that. Right now, I don't care about all that kind of stuff. I don't care if any of these players probably get sold at the end of the season or in the summer. But right now, we need them. We really do need them. And we need to show them that we're all together. And just try to beat this thing, guys. That's what we have to do.
He says, any collusion with ENIC, no matter how small, is basically being a traitor to the cause of getting them out. He's taking a pot at the fans who kind of had a thing with the club before the game against Forest to organise the, parade or whatever you want to call it, support.
Welcoming him in the team bus, yeah.
I mean, is that do you believe that? Colluding with the club, the fans who colluded with the club to get that girl are traitors to the cause of eating out?
No, I don't. I don't believe that at all. I believe that they needed to involve the club to get the police presence and everything like that. Look, maybe they didn't need to involve the club, but getting the players to tweet out all the stuff obviously got more numbers on the ground and got it spread out a lot more. I disagreed with the fact that the club should be plastering it all over their social medias and making it like out that it was their idea and all this kind of stuff. Well, it wasn't. It was fan groups. No, I don't agree with it whatsoever. This whole tweet I don't agree with, to be honest.
Yeah, can't add too much. All right, that's it.
Well, that is your comments. We'll be reacting to a lot more over the course of the next week or so. So get your comments in and we'll be reacting to the best ones. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.